Alrighty folks, Wild-Billiam here with you again today. I'm going to try to get open this Kasp 14040 anodized lock. It is the Yale keyway. It's an American 1100 clone. It's got a tricky little core. It's got that Yale keyway, and then the key pins come in on just a really oddball angle that you really kind of have to work off of that right warding there with a short hook and pray that you get things set without oversetting something, or hitting a zero lift pin and making it drop. So I'll skip right here to get to the start. I am using a Jimmy Long's hook and a Jimmy Long's turner here. I sped this segment up a little bit because I struggle and I didn't want to put out a video that's about 30 minutes long. So we will buzz through this here at 200% speed as I struggle with this lock. I can get pins to set and then I overset something and just have to keep resetting over and over and over. The core on this thing is sprung, so it is very difficult to tension with this thinner tensioner. So I keep struggling with it as we go through here over and over and over. So I guess while I've got you here, I'll talk about some of the fun things that are going on. I'm still working on my challenge lock right now. Hoping to get that done here in the near future. And then I picked up a couple of new locks that I plan to work with, which is a Canard 5-pin multi-lock clone, and then a D-Guard 5-pin multi-lock clone. That's rated blue and purple respectively. I've gotten the Canard open once, but not since then. Still trying to get that pin-in-pin technique down. I think I keep oversetting something, causing myself a lot of trouble. Big shout out to, gosh, it may have been Blue Scooby Wagon. I'm not 100% sure. I probably should have went and checked that before I recorded this, on their help in suggesting this lock. I love to hate this lock because of that keyway that I struggle with. Heck, I have an orange belt lock that's an Abus that has this same keyway that I still can't get open because it's got a zero lift that I have trouble working around. I kind of have to get that hook in there and kind of cram it in there. Those Jimmy Longs have that flared base, which makes it a little bit difficult, but it's still got a better hook on it than any other, a thinner and better hook than what I've got on any of my other picks that I'm working with at the moment. So I just keep struggling and struggling and struggling with this one. I think I switched to a thicker turner here at some point, to a 40,000th turner. You just got to keep working this one, and it's hard to find that binding pin when you're working with that really tight keyway. And I'm sure they get more difficult after here, and that's why I'm, still fighting these locks, because I want to get better at it. I want to be, a better picker, and so, I'm still struggling. I'm getting a little hand fatigue at this point from doing this, but we'll just keep fighting the good fight here, and I'll eventually get it open. Great little lock to learn with, I will say. It's pretty well made. Pretty heavy duty. I think I'm getting pretty close at this point, although I do think I'm having to vary tension a little bit to let overset pins drop again. I struggle with this thing. Trying some different angles to go through to get it, and I'm just not having a lot of luck at this point. I've had it open several other times off camera, but to try to do this with the camera right dead in front of me, I just always struggle. Oh, let's see. Didn't quite get it that time either. Having to rest my hands for a second. Just try this one more time here. it is definitely been a learning experience. Learning to pick locks, especially the different keyways. You know, you kind of go to the 1100s, and even the you know, S1100 or the 410 cores got a little bit tricky, and you have to come in on an angle, but it's not really that bad. But these yellow keyways, just I struggle with them. I've got 2 or 3 locks at least that have this. I think I've got 3 that have this keyway that I haven't gotten open yet that are green belt or lower. So you know, I'll just, especially that Abus mono block that I've got that is an absolute beast. It's heavy. I just struggle with it. It's got a 0 left pin in the back that's just so hard to work around. So, you know, I'll get this one open eventually here. I like to show the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to picking locks. I don't want to keep recording and have, you know, this great attempt that makes it look really short, because I think there's a lot of us pickers that are relatively new to the game that, you know, struggle sometimes, and it's good to know that we all struggle. Let's go try this one last time. I let it reset. I think I finally get some movement on the core here in a second, and I start to feel that beginning of the end. Come on, let's get this thing open, people. There we go. There's that movement in the core. We switch hooks here really quick. Something a little bit taller. I've got a pin in there. There we go. There's a nice deep falset. Let's work our way through it. Come on. Lighten up on the tension a little bit there. I had one with a little counter rotation. And we're almost there. There we go. Got it open. Thank goodness. This thing is an absolute beast. And here I remember that the screwdriver that I normally use to open these padlocks is not quite deep enough. So, all right, folks, let's get this lock disassembled. I will say that I didn't have my tools ready that I should have. So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit to make this go a little faster, as I struggle to get the clip off of the back of this thing. Had to get a longer screwdriver first of all to get it open. So let's get that core out. Had to go get a different plug follower. I had the wrong follower out. I had a follower out from something else I'd been playing around with earlier. So I'm going to struggle here with the tweezers, some old pinning tweezers I've got that came with a pinning kit I bought off Facebook Marketplace. This thing does not have that little that little ear that sits into the middle of the keyway at the bottom to kind of hold that steady. I think I have a hook disassembly kit that probably would have gotten it open, but I honestly didn't bother to get it. I figured I would get it easier just using tools I had on hand. Now I'm going to use a turning tool here to pry on this a little bit. Hopefully get it off of here. Thought, well, if I come at this from the bottom, maybe I can get it to pop off, but I think I eventually get it with these pinning tweezers. The struggle is real sometimes, folks, especially with these little padlock cores. They're kind of hard to hold a grip on with your fingers while you're working with the tools. There we go, got it up a little bit. See if that turning tool lets me get in there and pry a little harder. There we go, there comes the clip. Let's put the key in there so we can get that core out. This key fits in there really tight for some reason. I think it's because it has a steel spring in it. We'll see here in a minute. I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, I'll go ahead and use the plug follower and push it on out, and then I remember that I probably ought to use a shim so that I don't lose anything while I'm trying to get this apart, because the back of that plug's a little funky. It's not straight, and I have had a cord get stuck before for that reason, so I'm going to put a shim in there. Let's get her open. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to get the pins dumped out. I need to figure out a better camera angle so you can watch me do this a little better. Still figuring out camera angles. I bought a new small rig phone clamp set that clamps onto my desk that gives me an articulating arm to use. So let's get all these pins rearranged. Then I'll get the ones out of the Bible and the springs as well. Hopefully, you know, you'll learn from me to practice, because that's the biggest thing I can give anybody advice on, is just to keep picking. You'll get better. Work with varying your tension. Especially, it's a lot easier with dead cores to me, because you can kind of manually manipulate that core a little bit with the tensioning tool. One of them popped out on me. Let me get that spring out. Keep grabbing these pins. All in all, this is a fun lock. It's definitely a good one to learn with if you're used to using American, not just American lock, but American style padlocks to pick, because the keyway is just so different than anything you're going to see on a master lock or an American lock or even a pack lock, which are kind of wide open. So I highly recommend it as a learning experience. Mine had to ship from Germany, which was kind of interesting. So it took a little while to get to me once I ordered it. There we go. Here's our pins. You can see those first two pins are, well, if I will just get out of my own way and show you stuff instead of trying to arrange everything all pretty. So the first two pins are standard, but they're also steel and have a steel spring, which I'm guessing is anti-bump and then anti-drill protection. Then I've got a spool and a serrated key pin, another like a barrel pin, maybe a barrel driver pin, and then just a standard pin. The rest are all spools, and there's another serrated key pin in there. So it's an interesting lock to learn. So I highly recommend that you try this one if you can get a hold of one. And hope you have a great rest of your day, whether you're starting it or ending it right now. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.